A man flagged down a car on a remote highway in the Australian outback. Minutes later, one person was dead and the other had vanished into the dark. The attacker tried to control both victims, but one of them escaped. She ran into the desert barefoot, hiding for hours, unsure if she would survive. When she was found, she became the only witness to what happened that night. The investigation depended on her memory, her account, and what she could identify. Police followed multiple directions, but the case hinged on a single survivor. Her description led investigators toward a suspect with a violent history. That witness would later identify the man responsible for the attack. In 2001, a couple was driving along a remote highway near Barrow Creek in the Northern Territory. Peter Falconio and his girlfriend were traveling north through one of the most isolated stretches of road in Australia. Another vehicle approached from behind, closing the distance steadily in the darkness. The driver signaled them to pull over, indicating there was a problem with their vehicle. On an empty road with no immediate help nearby, they stopped to check. The man approached calmly, speaking briefly, before separating Peter from the vehicle. Within moments, a gunshot broke the silence of the outback. The situation shifted instantly from a roadside stop to a controlled attack. The attacker moved toward the vehicle, attempting to take control of both victims. From that point, everything depended on decisions made within the next few seconds. Immediately after the shot, the attacker moved to control the second victim inside the vehicle. He restrained her, indicating the situation was not limited to a single act of violence. The vehicle became a confined space where the attacker attempted to maintain dominance. However, within seconds, an opportunity appeared when his attention shifted. She managed to break free from restraint and exit the vehicle under extreme pressure. Instead of running along the road, she moved into the surrounding darkness to avoid being seen. The terrain offered no clear path, only open desert and sparse vegetation. She hid behind bushes, staying silent while the attacker searched nearby. At one point, he returned to the vehicle, possibly believing she could not escape far. Those decisions in the moment determined whether she survived or was found. She remained hidden for hours, avoiding movement even as vehicles passed in the distance. The attacker eventually left the scene, taking the vehicle and removing any immediate trace. Only after the road was quiet did she emerge and move back toward the highway. She waited for passing traffic, knowing it was her only chance to get help. When a truck finally approached, she stepped onto the road and signaled for assistance. The driver stopped and contacted authorities, initiating the first confirmed report of the attack. Police arrived and secured the area, but the primary victim was already missing. The crime scene now extended across the road, the desert, and the surrounding terrain. Investigators began reconstructing the sequence using her account as the central reference. From this point, the entire case depended on what she had seen and remembered. With no suspect at the scene, investigators relied entirely on the survivor's account. She described the attacker's appearance, voice, and behavior in detail. From that description, police developed a composite sketch to guide the search. The investigation focused on individuals known to travel remote highways regularly. Investigators checked truck drivers, local workers, and anyone operating in the area. Road checkpoints were established, but the suspect had already moved beyond the immediate region. Another lead examined prior violent offenders who matched the description, but no direct match was confirmed. Attention also turned to vehicles seen in the area that night, narrowing possible suspects. Despite these efforts, the attacker remained unidentified in the early stages. The case moved forward, but every lead depended on the accuracy of a single witness. Investigators expanded the search beyond the immediate area, tracking movement across regions. One direction focused on a man seen near the highway before and after the incident. Witness reports and timing placed him within the same route as the victims that night. This aligned with a suspect known to travel extensively through remote areas. Police cross-checked his movements with vehicle sightings and prior records. The pattern began to form around a single individual with a history of violent behavior. He had access to firearms and knowledge of isolated locations, matching the attack conditions. Investigators gathered statements, surveillance, and physical evidence linking him to the route. This shifted the case from multiple possibilities to a focused suspect. The investigation moved toward confirming his involvement with stronger evidence. With the suspect identified, investigators moved to confirm his involvement through physical evidence. The survivor was shown a series of images, including the suspect, under controlled conditions. She identified him as the attacker, reinforcing the direction of the investigation. Police then focused on linking him directly to the crime scene through forensic analysis. Vehicle evidence, including fibers and traces, was examined for consistency with the attack. Ballistic analysis was conducted to connect the weapon used to the suspect. Witness timelines were aligned with his movements before and after the incident. The evidence built a consistent picture, placing him at the scene during the attack. Investigators now had both witness identification and supporting physical evidence. The case shifted from suspicion to a prosecutable case against a confirmed individual. Police arrested the suspect, later identified as Bradley John Murdoch, linking him directly to the attack. He denied responsibility, forcing the case to rely on evidence rather than confession. Prosecutors presented the survivor's identification as a central part of the case. This was supported by forensic evidence, including vehicle traces and ballistic links. Witness timelines placed him on the same remote highway at the time of the incident. The prosecution argued the attack was deliberate, using isolation to control the victims. The motive was consistent with control and opportunistic violence rather than a personal connection. The defense challenged the identification and evidence, but the case remained consistent. He was found guilty and sentenced, confirming responsibility for the attack and murder. The case was resolved because the survivor escaped, identified him, and the evidence supported her account.